Welcome back to ViralVault. Glad you survived long enough to click play. Tonight's list, it's a cursed mix. Folk horror, supernatural thrillers, slasher horror, found footage horror, and even a taste of cosmic horror. Each one digs under your skin in a different way. Some hide in the daylight, others wait in abandoned woods, and a few whisper in your ear when you're all alone. So, let's begin, if you dare. Number 1. Midsummer, 2019. Folk horror in the sunlight, where every smile is a warning. And every dance ends in blood.
We only do this every 90 years.
Directed by Ari Aster, the master of dread, Florence Pugh as Donnie delivers a performance so raw it's almost unbearable to watch. Her grief carries her to Sweden with Christian, played by Jack Rayner, and their friends. But what begins as a bright festival quickly rots into something ancient and terrifying. The villagers wear white, they sing, they feast, but behind those smiles are rituals soaked in blood and bone. This isn't horror hiding in shadows. It's folk horror suffocating you in daylight. The slow unraveling of trust, love, and sanity is what makes it brutal. For me, it's a 9 out of 10. A nightmare you can't escape because it refuses to turn off the lights. Best watched when you're too awake to sleep, so the images stick. And if you thought this was unsettling, Apostle drags folk horror into even darker places. Number 2. Apostle, 2018. An island, a cult, a god that bleeds. Folk horror doesn't get more vicious than this. Directed by Gareth Evans, best known for his violent action films. Dan Stevens stars as Thomas, a man risking everything to save his sister from a secluded cult. But once he steps onto that island, he steps into a trap. Michael Sheen is magnetic as the prophet leading his flock, and hiding secrets beneath the soil. The atmosphere is rotten, claustrophobic, and every ritual feels like a scream muffled by prayer. When the truth comes out, about the god they worship, you'll wish it hadn't. It's folk horror wrapped in cruelty, sacrifice, and unshakable dread. For me, Apostle lands at 8.5 out of 10. Punishing and unforgettable. Watch it when you're ready to sink into something heavy and brutal. But heavy doesn't mean hopeless. Sometimes horror can be playful too. Like Freaky. Number 3. Freaky, 2020. Slasher horror, with a body swap twist. Bloody, brutal, and somehow hilarious all at once.
I can't wait to kill you.
I want my body back.
Come and get it.
Christopher Landon directs this wicked spin on slasher tropes. Vince Vaughn plays the Blissfield Butcher, a hulking killer who accidentally swaps bodies with Millie, a shy high school girl played by Catherine Newton. So suddenly, a teenage girl looks like a serial killer, and a giant man looks like an anxious cheerleader. The kills are creative, over the top, and unapologetically gory, but the comedy hits just as hard as the stabbings. It's campy, bloody fun that doesn't take itself too seriously, yet still delivers genuine slasher horror thrills. For me, Freaky is an 8 out of 10, a gleeful mix of laughs and screams. Best watched with friends, late at night, so you can all yell at the screen together. But when laughter fades, darkness creeps in again. The day of the Lord doesn't play games with demons. Number 4. The Day of the Lord, 2020. A supernatural thriller where faith collides with hell itself. Exorcism is never clean.
Tú eres, Señor, mi refugio.
Directed by Santiago Alvarado Elorri, Julie Fabregas plays a retired priest dragged back into battle when a friend begs him to save his daughter. But this isn't your clean-cut Hollywood exorcism. This is raw, messy, and terrifying, with Jimena Romo embodying possession so convincingly it made me shiver. The line between faith and madness blurs, and you're never sure who's winning. The atmosphere is suffocating, and the violence pulls no punches. It's a supernatural thriller that asks whether the real demon might be human desperation itself. For me, it's a 7.5 out of 10, not perfect. But it rattles your nerves. Watch it when the night feels heavy. When silence itself feels haunted. But if you think demons are bad, wait until you see what a cursed object can do. The Advent Calendar is waiting. Number 5. The Advent Calendar, 2021. A cursed object. A wish granted. But every gift in this supernatural thriller comes soaked in blood.
Tu me fous la paix.
Patrick Ridremont directs this chilling Christmas nightmare. Eugenie Darawan plays Eva, a woman in a wheelchair who receives a mysterious Advent calendar. Each door promises something miraculous, but also demands a bloody price. The concept is devilishly simple, yet it twists tighter with each day. You want Eva to resist, but temptation drips like poison. Honorin Magnier and Clement Olivieri help round out the cast. But this is Eva's tragic game. The horror is in the ticking clock. The sense that doom is scheduled and unstoppable. For me, it's a solid 8 out of 10. A supernatural thriller that proves holidays can be hell. Best watched in December, when you're surrounded by glowing lights that suddenly don't feel so comforting. And if cursed gifts aren't enough, what about a hole so deep it swallows life itself? Super Deep goes there. Number 6. Super Deep, 2020. Cosmic horror lurks underground, where science drills too far and wakes something that should never breathe. Directed by Arseny Sayuan, Milena Radulovich stars as Anna, a scientist pulled into a secret expedition at the world's deepest borehole in Russia. What they find down there is not just strange, it's alive. And it's spreading. The claustrophobia, the grotesque body horror mutations, the sense of insignificance in the face of something ancient, it's cosmic horror at its bleakest. Nikita Dyuvibanov and Maxim Radugin play fellow explorers. But nobody is safe. Every hallway, every shadow drips with dread. And by the end, you feel contaminated too. For me, Super Deep is a 7.5 out of 10, not flawless, but deeply unsettling. Watch it alone, in the dark, if you want to feel the walls closing in. But if cosmic terror isn't enough, what about an imaginary friend that refuses to stay imaginary? Z is next. Number 7. Z, 2019. A creepy supernatural thriller where a child's imaginary friend turns out to be real and deadly. Directed by Brandon Christensen, Keegan Connor Tracy plays a mother who realizes her son, played by Jet Klein, isn't just talking to himself. He's talking to Z. And Z isn't the kind of friend you invite inside, he forces his way in. Sean Rogerson supports as the father. But it's the mother's unraveling that hits hardest. The jump scares are sharp. But it's the slow, psychological dread that lingers. The way the film balances family drama with supernatural terror makes it stick. For me, Z is a 7.8 out of 10. Creepy, tense, and a reminder that sometimes your kids' whispers aren't innocent. Best watched when the house is too quiet, and you start hearing things yourself. But speaking of isolation, imagine being trapped in the woods with killers who don't need imagination at all. Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight delivers that nightmare. Number 8. Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight, 2020. Intro hook. Slasher horror in the deep woods, where teenagers trade phones for blood-soaked screams. Directed by Bartosz M. Kowalski, Julia Wieniawa leads a group of teens sent to a rehab camp to detox from technology. But instead of Wi-Fi withdrawal, they face machetes and monsters. Michal Lupa and Victoria Gasowska join the slaughter as the group drops one by one. It's brutal, bloody, and self-aware, wearing its love for old-school slasher horror proudly. The killers are grotesque, the kills are inventive, and the forest feels endless. For me, it's a 7 out of 10, not groundbreaking, but a fun, gory slasher ride, best watched with lights off. So you jump at every branch outside your window. But if you think masked killers are bad, wait until you meet a child raised in murder. Bereavement is next. Number 9. Bereavement, 2010. Slasher horror fused with psychological dread, where innocence is trained to kill. Directed by Stephen Mina, Alexandra Daddario plays Allison, a young woman who moves into a small town with her uncle, played by Michael Biehn. But nearby, Brett Rickaby's Graham Sutter is kidnapping and slaughtering victims in a slaughterhouse, while grooming a kidnapped boy to follow in his bloody footsteps. It's disturbing, grim, and far more psychological than your average slasher. The atmosphere drips with decay, and the violence feels sickeningly real. What got me wasn't just the gore, but the way innocence gets corrupted into evil. For me, Bereavement is an 8 out of 10. Haunting and brutal in equal measure. Best watched when you're ready to feel dirty afterward, because this one sticks. But if slaughterhouses feel claustrophobic, imagine being trapped in an abandoned resort where the walls themselves breathe. Number 10. The Resort, 2021. Intro hook. A supernatural thriller on an abandoned island, where a tropical getaway becomes a final destination. Directed by Taylor Sheehan, Bianca Haas plays Lex, who drags her friends, including Brock O'Hearn and Michael Vlamis, to a deserted resort in Hawaii. But the island isn't empty. It's haunted. What begins as curiosity turns into a nightmare of ghosts, shadows, and deadly encounters. The tropical beauty curdles into something sinister, and the group realizes too late they're trapped in a haunted maze. It's a supernatural thriller that leans on atmosphere and setting, making paradise feel cursed. For me, The Resort is a 6.8 out of 10. Flawed, but creepy enough for a late-night watch. Best viewed when you want to pretend you're on vacation, until the walls start whispering. And with that, our list closes. But the nightmares never do. And that's it. 10 ways to ruin your night. Courtesy of ViralVault. From folk horror festivals to supernatural thrillers. From slasher horror to cosmic horror. Every corner of the genre offers a different flavor of fear. Some daylight bright, some pitch black, all unforgettable. But the real question is, which one will follow you into your dreams tonight? Dare to comment below, if you can still type with shaking hands.